What's up, guys? Collin Coates from Built to Wander. We are back with another episode of Driving Line Builds featuring Matt Thompson's F-350 Superduty behind me. Today, we'll be installing some functional accessories to include a set of power steps from Amp Research. We've got a bed cover from RealTruck, a power tank for onboard air, and finally some interior accessories from WeatherTech. Before we get started, like this video, subscribe to the Driving Line channel, and let's get after it.
What's up, guys? Matt Thompson from 3D Off-Road. Guys, we got the last few little pieces on this big truck build. We've come a long ways with it. I can't even begin to tell you how all these improvements have just made this truck night and day difference. So, these add-ons that I'm doing are really just, they're not a necessity. They're just kind of creature comforts, And we're gonna add a bed cover because, when we get snow up in the mountains, we'll get 10, 12, 16, 18 inches, and it'll be nice to have that closed. Anything back there, it'll keep it dry. Let's get started on this, and can't wait for you guys to see the final product. So we've got these rails right now that are gonna go on the side right here and mount up, and these are gonna actually attach to the side of the bed and on top, so that way when that retracts is, it's got something to slide on back and forth. So we're gonna mount these up, get this all set up here, and then we'll get this put in the back of the truck. You can see that there's this little channel right here where this kind of slides down into. So we're just trying to get it to all drop down into place and get that dude to set in there nice and tight. All right, so now we got this little rain cover. We're gonna slide this guy into place and then get our screws installed. Nice and easy. All right, this rubber seal has to go up on top. So make sure that this bracket comes as part of the shipping, and they use this piece right here as your spacer. So what you do is you take it just like this, slide it up against the tailgate, and you just make sure that that's a nice tight fit right there. Just really sets the distance front to back, so that way everything works like the way it's supposed to. So we'll start putting in our clamps now that this is in place and get this clamp down. What we have here is the clamps that actually pinch this on the bed rail, and then you can see there's a narrow one and a thick one, and the thick one's gonna go on the back side of the bed, and this narrow piece is actually gonna go right between these two plastic screws right here. And what these screws do is they just set the distance so that your bed rail sits even and flush. So if you need to adjust it, you can, to make that really roll nice and clean inside of here. When you're tightening these, you don't want to use an impact, use a wrench, so that way you get these tight, but don't over crush it where you break these plastic screws. So just be super careful when you're doing that.
All right, so we've got the rails positioned where they need to be. Matt and Parker got the actual unit up into the truck. So now we're basically just gonna remove this protective film that RealTruck provides. This just keeps it
satisfying.
Yeah, it is really satisfying. It keeps everything nice and clean, like through shipping, prevents any scratches and that sort of thing. All right, now that that's out of the way, we can install our drain plugs, or hoses rather. And basically what that does is if this thing collects any water, it'll drain right out of the truck. There's a couple plugs back here, up in the back of the bed. I'm gonna drill them out. That way, this will attach underneath and then go right out of there so all that water doesn't end up in the truck bed.
Sick.
Super clean. All right, so we've got a 15-pound power tank here that we're gonna install along the side of the bed. Now, we waited to do this until we had the bed cover from RealTruck installed because we wanted to make sure that it would fit back here. The bed's got this, it's the 8-foot box, and so there's a bit more room here in front of the rear wheel well. And so what we're gonna do is basically mount the power tank right up in here, and it's gonna barely fit, which will be really nice. And this is, again, this is a 15-pound system. There'll be plenty of air in here so that Matt gets a flat toe in the trailer, or even with his truck, you know, if at times he goes off-road, wants to air down, he can use this to air back up without any issue. The nice thing too about this bed cover, it's gonna keep the sun off of this tank, which will keep it cool, but also preserve this really pretty blue color as well. All right, Matt, so tell me how we're gonna get this thing installed.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and install the 2 brackets here. We're gonna bolt these up. It's gonna go bolt through the side of the bed, and we're gonna mount this thing horizontally. So I'm gonna use this to mark my holes. This actually fits perfect between the top and the bottom right there, so it'll fit nice and snug, and it'll make it super easy to mark these holes and keep it centered. So we'll get this all mounted up and show you what it looks like installed.
Cool.
So we got our holes drilled. We matched them up to this plate and the power tank bracket. This is actually gonna go on the inside of the bed. That way it gives this some extra support and gives the panel some extra support. That way we're not ripping out the holes later.
That was fun. All right, so it took a little bit, but Matt installed the sub bracket on the other side of this bed wall. And so this bolts to that. It's nice and sturdy. It's got 6 bolts. Power tank includes some really nice hardware, as you can see. And that's what the tank will mount to.
I'm gonna go ahead and set the tank in here. And if you notice, we're mounting it horizontally. And the biggest reason for that is this tank has a snorkel tube. Now I don't have to pull the tank to be able to air up a tire somewhere unless I really, really need to, you know, walk off into an open field, or if I can't get the truck near it. So I'm really excited about this. Now I can just, you know, leave it in here until it's empty and then get it refilled.
Yeah, that's sturdy. Yeah, that looks good, man. So the cool thing about it being mounted horizontally like this with the snorkel tube, it allows Matt to actually air up in that position. Otherwise, without the snorkel tube, it would need to be vertical.
Yeah, it need to be vertical. Yep.
You can see just how tight that fitment is there with the bed cover, but it fits really nice in that space, and it'll be nice and unassuming, especially with that bed cover closed. All right, another shout out to PowerTank. Not only did they hook us up with this tank for Matt, they also sent everything we would need in this nice gear kit. So we've got the Ventoso heavy duty tire inflator. This is a digital gauge, makes it really nice to know what pressure you're at. We've got our 30-foot coiled hose. They also sent a tire repair kit. We won't be needing these for our Nittos. We never have issues with them, but this is gonna come really handy for trailer tires or other people that might be on the road with a flat. They also sent a scale. The scale's nice to have because it allows Matt to pick this tank up and determine how full it is. So he'll know whether or not he needs to refill it by using this. And then lastly, we've got this blowgun kit. This is good for many different uses. However, I really like using it to clean off the inside of the dash if we get super dusty being off-road. But there's a lot of different things you can use this for. And just thought it was really cool that they hooked us up with all this gear. Again, Matt's gonna get a ton of use out of these accessories with his new 15-pound power tank. All right, so next on our list was some interior protection. So our friends at WeatherTech sent us their newest, latest and greatest high-performance floor liners. These are next generation of protection. They're very sturdy. They're going to protect the interior of Matt's truck really nice. And the best part is they're tan, so they match that Baja interior of his Lariat F-350 behind me. So really stoked to get these put in his truck. With as much off-road use as this thing sees, him being at the shop every day, getting in and out, these are going to be really nice in protecting that carpet floor inside of his truck. So not only do they have the front liners, they also have a nice big piece for the rear. And so these will be laid out across the bench seat there for the floor. Going to be really nice. One of the benefits of WeatherTech is the molds they use to produce these things are so precise. They fit incredibly well inside these trucks, and these things just pop right in once you get them aligned. You just hear them click. Boom, and it's that easy. What I love about this is all of the contours. This actually fits all of the contours of all the interior pieces really well. And then the passenger front fits right in there. So nice. I love the tan. It actually goes really well with Matt's interior. And again, this is just gonna be so nice. You know, any spilled liquids, dirt, grime, grease that Matt brings into this truck from the shop, pull these out, spray them out. They'll look good as new, and they'll definitely be a much needed layer of protection that this truck otherwise did not have.
So we have the BumpStep XL from WeatherTech. It has a nut that's kind of inserted in here, and we'll slide it in the hitch to the depth that I'd like it at. And this will also help, you know, if somebody rear-ends you, this will take a lot of impact and maybe help prevent them getting all the way to your bumper. So. Yeah. All right, so we got some amp research power steps. This is really gonna help my wife or Bryce get in. It's gonna drop down a little bit lower. The step's just a little bit wider and it comes out a little further. So it'll just make it a whole lot easier for them to get in and out of the truck. And you know, with them being powered, they'll stay tucked up inside. You know, when I'm driving around, they won't get ice stuck on them or, you know, rain and make them slippery. So I'm really excited about that. We're gonna start by taking off the old steps and start putting this thing together. All right, so they have an idler arm and then a power arm. So this is the arm that's gonna go up front and the motor gets mounted to this. So we're gonna go ahead and get these installed and then start laying out some wiring and then get the motors mounted up. So they've got some really nice guides for the zip ties for the power pack. This controls the power steps, it makes them go up and down. It'll sense when the door is closed or open, and that way, you know, you want this to be pretty solid wherever you put it. You don't want it to be out vibrating around. Don't mount it to the motor. You know, put it somewhere stationary where it's going to be secure. So we'll find a nice safe spot for this and start routing some wiring. All right, so when you take the tape off, this little plastic cover comes off of there. You want to clip that back into place. Make sure that the step is all the way open. And then to set your motor, you just line up those guys, kind of like so. And then put your screws in. All right, so I kind of want to point out something right here. They make this really, really nice bracket that slides back and forth so that you can really dial in the centering of the steps so that you can make sure that it covers everywhere that it's supposed to. So super nice setup. You know, like I said, this will slide. We'll get this set up in there, start the bolts, and then we'll get it adjusted where we need it to. Sick.
All right, so we got the wiring completed. Amp research makes it super easy to do. There's a connection at the battery for your power and ground. There's a plug at each motor for each side on the steps. And then there's a OBD2 plug that plugs right into that port underneath the dash. There's 4 wires to hook it up. And really what that does is make it so that the steps operate when you open the door. So open the door, look how quick and fast they come out. You're not sitting here waiting for them to drop. By the time you're ready to step in the truck, they're down. There's nice lighting that they provide to illuminate the step at night. And like Matt said, These steps drop down further than the factory steps. They come out a little further as well. So getting in and out of the truck is literally so easy. I mean, it makes it so nice. And I know that Matt's gonna get a lot of use out of these. When you shut the door, there's a 2-second delay, and then they tuck right up. Looking at the truck, you would never know they're there, which I think makes for an even more aggressive look on this thing. And it's gonna make this thing look even sicker on and off road. But again, having that functionality, going to be so nice. Boom. So there you guys have it. Matt's F-350 Superduty build is now complete. It's dialed with accessories. Now that we've added that Retrax Pro MX bed cover from RealTruck, we added the 15-pound PowerTank setup for onboard air, WeatherTech high-performance floor liners for the ultimate interior protection, and lastly, those power steps from AMP Research. Super stoked with how all of those accessories have come together, and can't wait to get this thing out and do some real-world testing. That's what you can expect next on Driving Line Builds. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think of the accessories we just added. And as always, hit the like button if you did, and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, wander on.
Thanks for watching Driving Line. If you guys like this video, consider subscribing to our channel so you'll never miss any of the content we create here. Whether you're into trucks, Jeeps, imports, domestic vehicles, or anything in between, we are here to fuel your passion. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys next time.